What have you got there, Mark?
I've got the Titleist TS2, James.
Oh, right.
I've been really looking forward to trying to get the TSi, but I haven't seen one yet.
Let's do it.
Let's do it now.
Hi everyone, James Robinson here. Welcome back, Mark.
Hello everybody.
Mark, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good.
Very good. Mark, this is a video which I know a lot of people have been desperate to see, and I know you've been kind of really desperate to try as well.
Definitely.
We're going to test the old, I don't know what makes something old, but the not current or the not new TS2. I can't believe we've got to that time already, to be fair. 2-year cycle, gone.
Yeah.
And we're going to test it against the new all singing, all dancing TSi2. So, Mark, I know you were a massive fan of the Taylormade. So, Mark, I know you were a massive fan of the Titleist TS2, so that makes me think that you're potentially going to be a bit of a fan of this, the TSi2. Mark, first of all, you've had a bit of a warm-up with both.
Yeah.
What are your first impressions of these clubs? Because we know first impressions can count for a lot.
First impressions, I like both of them.
Yeah.
The whole styling and look of them is nice. They are obviously different though when you look down from on top. That one's a little bit more chubby, if you like.
Which one's that one? That's the TS2.
That's the TS2.
So they have slimmed it down a little bit. One of the huge differences is we've lost the fulcrum, and by that I mean the old, if that focuses, and by that I mean the old triangle that's on top that's now been replaced with a little sleeker TSi logo. I'm not sure how I feel about that, to be honest. I feel like it, tradition-wise, the fulcrum should have stayed.
Don't know if it bothers me that much.
No.
It's a marcus on top of the club to give you an opportunity of lining the ball up.
Yeah, fair play, fair play. Because actually it flipped round, didn't it? The fulcrum used to point the other way.
Yes.
So now it's just totally gone, so Titleist have forgot the roots and I'm joking.
So the old TS2 looks deeper on the face.
Okay.
And not quite as long in the body.
Yeah. One of the big things I noticed, because I tested the TSi3 as opposed to the TS3, was it looked better on the toe. The TS2 and TS3 to me had a bit of a big toe, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Almost like a big horrible chin on the corner of it, and that they seem to have done away with that. That is because tall players mentioned a similar thing. Okay. So looking down at those, and it's amazing how clubs can look so different looking down at them, just for one generation. Yes. I think they've done a fantastic job with the TSi range of making them look a little bit better, but that's my opinion. Obviously this video is about your opinion.
Yeah, I think it has a more dynamic look to it.
Yeah.
Whilst keeping the rest of the Titleist sort of...
Still looks traditional, doesn't it? Pan down there again.
The face is obviously different.
Yeah, so the face is that new metal. I have done a full review of these, so if they want a full in-depth review, we'll not cover that in this video. But totally different look, totally different feel. Even can kind of offer a different visual look with the loft as well. So before we hit some more, obviously looking at these club heads now, we'll see that one's 10.5 and one's 10. Yes. So the new TSi2 is a 10 as standard or a 9 as standard, as opposed to the old range, which is 10.5 and 9.5. So that's just because the Titleist claim that it is more forgiving and then you don't need that extra half a degree of loft to help with the launch. It should be easier to launch with the new technology that's in them.
Right, okay. I'm not sure the mid-handicap golfer's really going to notice that.
Well, exactly, and that's why we do these tests, Mark. Yeah, do you want to hit a couple more TS2s?
Okay, yeah, I'll hit a couple of TS2s and we'll see what happens with them.
Yeah. It is really interesting you do say that, actually, Mark, about a mid-handicapper not potentially being able to tell a difference in slight little changes. I suppose if we look at the way companies do now progressively release drivers every year, well, pretty much every year, some manufacturers every year, some are biannually. That's twice a year, isn't it? I mean, every 2 years. You have to look for little incremental changes, don't you, that hopefully over a span will present one big change. So I think the big people who are going to see benefits from these are maybe using 910, 913, not necessarily TS2. Yes. Personally.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Very possibly. I mean, in all drivers, certainly from my perspective, I think you need to. It's better to wait 2 or 3 generations before you look at replacing your.
Definitely, unless you've been poorly fitted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So no pressure, Mark, but that one was dead centre.
Dead centre, it was a little bit high.
Nice.
That was also dead centre.
A bit better dispersion than the warm-up, Mark. I'll throw some of those up on screen for them now to see.
Yep. Thank you.
Great swing. That was a wonderful swing. How did you feel about, well, how do you feel about the sound of the TS2?
I like it.
Yeah, it's different to other drivers on the market, isn't it? It's a little bit higher pitched.
It is, but it's it's quite a short sound.
Yeah.
It doesn't sort of give you a, oh God, that doesn't sound very good, or it sounds as though it's cracked because of the higher pitch.
Yeah.
It's
which you used to get from, remember the old Cobra drivers, the amp?
Yes.
Yeah, they sounded horrific, didn't they?
Certainly. So my actual dispersion is brilliant.
It is, isn't it? 3 shots there.
It's high. Now I know we talk about high.
That's something we do try and work on, don't we? Hung back off that one again, Mark.
I did come back off that one.
Still, I mean, you're taking it, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's not your best distance down there, just over 200, but you're taking it off the first tee. And that for me is something which when we test clubs, I'm always thinking about, would I take it off the first tee as opposed to, it's in a simulator, so it's not the best shot I've hit.
Yeah, it's nice, it's going well.
We should say neither of these clubs are fitted as well to you. We've just kind of stuck in a shaft that we feels about right. And then obviously got the 10.5 and the 10-degree lofts, which interesting change that actually, quite a big statement from Titleist, isn't it? Changing the standard lofts.
Yes, yeah.
Probably the best one yet, that one, Mark.
That was
yeah.
better.
Should we go one more and then have a look at TSi2?
Yeah.
Really impressed with that. And so interestingly now, if I could offer you 15 more yards with TSi2, but the dispersion would be more, well, a lot more sporadic. I'm not going to lie, I think we might struggle to recreate that dispersion 6 times with the TSi2, just down to consistency, because I don't think many people could. But if I could offer you 15 more yards on average, would you take it?
Probably not.
No, I potentially not, yeah.
If I know that I'm going to be essentially in the middle of the fairway every time, I'd take that over 15 yards further on and occasionally.
Yeah. Another good one, Mark. Another good one. Yeah. I mean, as we go, half a dozen shots there. That's. I've never zoomed in on dispersion as much in my life, to be fair. Shall we have a look at what TSi2 can potentially bring to the table now?
Yeah, let's see what that does.
Right, Mark. So we've got exactly the same shaft in here now, set on exactly the same setting. So you'll see that that's set in A1 with the standard 10-degree loft. So there you go, Mark. Now initially, looking down at this now, having hit half a dozen shots with the TSi2, as well as having a pretty decent warm-up with all these shots, how's this now making you, how's it making you feel?
It looks good. I think the slightly longer tail gives me the impression of a bit more speed, perhaps.
Yeah, so more aerodynamics, which is exactly what Titleist are going for.
Mentally, it gives me a view of a bit more speed, so that's always good, isn't it?
Yeah.
You think if it looks as though it's going to go faster as a driver head.
Because it's interesting, they've gone down the aerodynamics route without putting the kind of turbulators on or the inertia generator, which Taylormade and Ping and other brands have done. Cobra as well have done something similar, haven't they? Great first shot, another fairway hit. So one of the big differences I got was the sound. I thought TSi3 sounded way different to TS3. I think it's something which maybe you hear more outside than in here. And if it wasn't absolutely silent it down outside like it is, we might have gone out and done that, but... He's on fire today, hitting that fairway. Great swing again.
Well, the positive, I think there's the definite positives about it are just look at the consistency.
It's doing what you're wanting it to do, isn't it, by hitting fairways?
Yeah, that's right. It's going straight and it's feeling nice and comfortable.
all spinning a bit high, like that one spun at just over 4,000. I think potentially a fit-in with the right shaft and things like that may bring that down for you.
It might help a bit more, yes. I mean, this head is, the loft is set slightly higher than I currently have my driver set at.
That's the first one that's gone left on you.
To get a bit more.
Yeah, interesting. That has gone quite a bit further though. So you're hitting less club in there, and you're probably just off the fairway. It's not a 4 left hoodie shout, is it?
No.
So if we were going to judge how you hit the first batch of shots with I was going to say the standard with the old. I don't want to call it the old, just with the TSi2, because there'll be a lot of people who go to buy the TS2 now because obviously it's going to be more reasonably priced. And how would you, if you're going to rate your swings out of 10 there, obviously for pure fairness of tests and things like that, how would you say you swung in that first batch?
The first batch was a very consistent swing for me. I felt as though, actually I think the club probably gave me confidence to swing at that consistent speed and rate rather than trying to vary it, because I don't think I'm doing very well with it.
Yeah, big old forgiving looking head, that kind of thing.
That's right, yes. Yeah, but this one is giving me a little bit more, I can go after this a bit more, which distance-wise helps.
Yeah.
Dispersion-wise, at the moment for my swing, it isn't quite so good.
Yeah, still acceptable I think, but one. That's not a very long one, is it? There's always one, isn't there? Good swing again. I tell you what, Mark, I definitely wouldn't be playing you for money today with those. Any differences in sound that you're picking up? Feel?
Yeah, it's not quite as sharp as it on the sound for me. Right? And it's very quick. Yeah, it's quick off the face. I think the ball seems to be quick off the face. It doesn't sound sort of big, crashing, crunching, echoey sound.
Yeah. So funnily enough, the materials, this has nothing to do with what we're saying, but the materials in these heads are the same materials used in, I'm not sure if it's the patches or schnooks or in the rotator blades in those. I feel like my story was boring you there. A great swing. Right, Mark, let's have one more. Then we've had a decent split with each. We never like to hit too many because obviously we do tire after way too many drives. I feel like this has been pretty fair so far. Obviously depends how you hit this last one, but it's going to be a really interesting look at the differences, isn't it?
Yes.
Very interesting. So all in all, like looking at that, I said if I offered you more, would you take it? Now I reckon you have it that a little bit further. But, I mean, that dispersion really isn't going to bother you too much, is it?
No, it's not.
It's nice to see them all in a line, but I think also being realistic, like if I take that as dispersion for a driver test, I'm over the moon.
Yeah, I agree. Because I know exactly why that one out the left.
Yes, and if you can rectify that on the course, then you're fine. Before we have a look, how would you rate it if you didn't see any of the numbers and I was just going to show you blindly? How does it feel, sound, look?
Well, interestingly, I noted at the start to you that both drivers felt slightly light in my hand.
Yeah.
Compared to my current driver. So that was kind of interesting. I was getting no difficulty with trying to swing. That said, this feels a lot more competitive to me than the TS2.
Yeah.
TS2, very nice. Don't have a problem with that, and certainly price-wise, I would probably take the 2 over the I.
Yeah.
Purely on price.
Okay.
Difference between the two of them. But if we're just looking at the better one,
bearing in mind you probably wouldn't be able to get fitted for a 2 now.
No.
So that's part of the.
Interested in getting fitted for this one.
Should we?
Let's see what they say.
Let's take a look. So we'll look at dispersion straight away. We're not going to spend too long looking at that because interestingly you've swung them all pretty well. Would the TSi2, so this one, should it be lower because of that 1/2 degree, do we think? It's a little bit lower, isn't it, I think?
Yeah.
Not a bad array really, looking at all of those. I think it's definitely, TSi2 is definitely that little bit lower because of the half a degree. So that's something to bear in mind, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Now numbers, and we've not looked at these at all. We'll look at TS2 first, and all down there, not great strikes from Mark today. I think he'll agree with that. We've got an average of 219.221, an average club speed of 97.5, producing a ball speed of 136.1. Note that number down, and a really high average spin of 4.2, which I think you expected, didn't you, the way you swung today?
Yes.
That's a standard figure for us with the way you've been swinging. Now, if we shift that over to TSi2, interesting readings there. A couple of really good ones actually. One, that number 3 was probably the best swing of the day, albeit a little bit left. So we've got an average of 230 and 234, so up by around about 10 yards. Average club head speed of 100, so that's up, and an average ball speed there of 139.8, as opposed to with the TS2 136. So you can start to see differences in there. Average spin down a touch, still a bit high at 3741. So interestingly, higher club speed, higher ball speed, lower spin and more distance, which is pretty much everything what Titleist claim about these. I think we could definitely hit more shots and that might bring them closer together. We could hit more shots and it could get them further apart. I'm happy with those as a reading. I think if we were fitting you for you to spend your money and buy one, I'd want to see you hit more shots.
Yeah,
but I think for a test, to give people a vague idea, I think it's doing its job, isn't it?
For me, yeah, obviously, those results say it. It's really interesting, as you said, that the distance was quite low with the TS2, and I think that automatically comes back to I was just swinging confidently and steadily.
Yeah, because we had a decent warm-up as well. A lot of people might be saying that, well, you'd warmed up with TS2, and then that's not the case. We had plenty of shots in there with TS2 and TSi2 in a warm-up. So, if you were gonna rate TSi2, Mark, hold it up to camera and show us what you think.
I think that is a very nice golf club.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good. It feels good. It does what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Was that a music album? Does what it says on the tin? No.
It's a particular paint product.
Right, interesting. Very interesting. I didn't expect there to be that much difference. I think you're quite impressed, aren't you, with the kind of jumping club head speed, obviously resulting in a jumping ball speed. So, what would you say to guys at home, Mark, who are potentially thinking about not only buying TSi2, because we know that that's not going to be everyone, due to budgets and things like that.
Definitely.
People are also thinking of buying the TS2.
Well, TS2, fantastic consistency.
Yeah.
Certainly for me. And I guess
better than a lot. Sorry to interrupt you there. Better than a lot when it comes to what we've seen there.
Definitely. I mean, the dispersion was, well, there was no dispersion essentially with it. Really liked using it, and certainly given it's now out of production sort of thing, prices then start to tumble and become much more affordable. So that is a definite goer for a lot of people, I think, and is very interesting. The TSi, I think it's done exactly what Titleist set off to do.
I think we better book you a fitting, haven't we?
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be very good. It's faster. Ball speed's faster. Club head speed was faster. Distance was further. And I think it's just me getting a bit more used to it.
Yeah.
That will bring its dispersions down to this. So yeah.
Well, there we go.
For both clubs.
There we go, guys. So if you would like to see Mark go and take a fitting for a new TSi, it could be TSi3. We don't know. We might do a video testing the TSi3. I only currently have my fitted one, which would be no good for you at the minute. As soon as we get a TSi3, we will do that as well. Comment below if you'd like to see that, guys. Leave us a like as well. Apart from that, Mark, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, James.
Really appreciate some good swings there as well. So I'm going to go and play golf, but not with you and not for money because you're playing too well. So
cheers.
See you later.
Bye.